Blood doesn't wash off. Not really. You can scrub your hands until they're raw, until the skin cracks and bleeds itself. But you still feel it, still see it, still smell it, mixing with the red clay of Vietnam. Specialist 4 David Martinez, combat medic, Bravo Company, 1st Battalion, 327th Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. Before Vietnam, I was just David from San Antonio, wanted to be a doctor, pre-med at UT Austin. 2 years in, before my draft notice came in February 1967. I could have claimed student deferment, could have stayed in school. But my older brother Miguel had been killed at Ia Drang in '65. Felt wrong to hide behind books while other guys went. Felt wrong to let someone else go in my place. So I went. Figured if I had to fight, at least I could save lives instead of taking them. Told the recruiter I had medical training. They made me a medic. Sent me to Fort Sam Houston for combat medical training. They taught us how to treat sucking chest wounds, how to apply tourniquets, how to start IVS under fire, how to triage, who you could save, who you couldn't, who to treat first when everyone was screaming for help. They taught us the statistics. Average lifespan of a combat medic in Vietnam, 7 seconds in a firefight. We were priority targets. Take out the medic. Wounded men don't get treated. Simple math. They taught us the motto, I will never leave a fallen comrade. We all believed it, all swore it, all thought we meant it. I shipped to Vietnam in October 1967. Processed through Cam Ranh Bay, issued jungle fatigues, malaria pills, and an aid bag full of bandages and morphine. Then they flew me to Camp Eagle and assigned me to Bravo Company. That's where I met Danny Sullivan. He found me my first day with the company. Big Irish kid from Boston, radio man. Carried the PRC-25 radio, 25 pounds of equipment that made him another priority target. Radio operators died almost as fast as medics. You're the new doc? He asked. That's what they called medics. Doctor. Even though we weren't doctors, weren't close to being doctors. Just kids with a few weeks of training and a bag full of bandages. Yeah, I said. Good. Try not to die. We've had 3 medics in 4 months. He said it like a joke. Wasn't. Danny and I became friends fast. You do that in combat. Bond quicker, not at all. He was 20. I was 21. Both of us too young. Both of us scared but too proud to admit it. We talked about home, about his family in Southie, about my family in San Antonio, about what we'd do when we got back. He wanted to be a cop like his old man. I still wanted to be a doctor. Still thought I could save lives, make a difference. Still believed in things. March 1968. They sent Bravo Company into the A Shau Valley, dense jungle, triple canopy forest so thick you couldn't see the sky. The valley was a major infiltration route for North Vietnamese forces. Our job was to find them, engage them, disrupt their operations. We humped through that jungle for 2 weeks, 100-degree heat, 100% humidity, leeches, mosquitoes, snakes, and always the feeling that we were being watched, that the enemy knew exactly where we were. Danny walked point most days. Well, not point. The radio operator never walked point, but close to it, right behind Lieutenant Foster. That radio on his back made him easy to spot, easy to target. He knew it. We all knew it. They want this radio, he'd say, patting the PRC-25. They'll have to go through me first. Bravado. That's what we lived on. That and each other. March 19th. We'd been hearing movement all morning, rustling in the jungle, shadows in the trees. The NVA were out there, close, watching, waiting. The ambush hit at 1300 hours, RPGs first. Rocket-propelled grenades screaming out of the jungle. One hit a tree next to our column. Explosion. Shrapnel. Men screaming. Then automatic weapons fire. A K-47's RPDS pouring fire into us from three sides. We dove for cover, returned fire, called for artillery support. Medic! Medic! Always those words, always someone screaming them. I grabbed my aid bag and moved toward the sound. Crawling, staying low, rounds snapping overhead. Private Johnson, 19 years old, from Iowa, shrapnel in his chest, sucking chest wound, air bubbling through the hole with every breath. I slapped on a field dressing, taped three sides, turned him on his wounded side so the lung could expand, started an IV, morphine for the pain. Am I going to die, Doc? No, I lied. You're going to be fine. He died 20 minutes later waiting for the medevac that couldn't land because the LZ was too hot. I moved to the next casualty, then the next, then the next. Lost count of how many. Lost track of time. Just moved from wounded man to wounded man while bullets flew and men died. Danny was on the radio the whole time, calling for air support, calling for artillery, calling for medevac. That calm voice even through the chaos. Falcon 6, this is Bravo 2-6. We are taking heavy fire. Grid coordinates follow. The firefight lasted 3 hours, felt like 3 days. When it ended, we had 7 dead and 19 wounded. The NVA melted back into the jungle like ghosts. We medevaced the wounded, bagged the dead, set up a defensive perimeter for the night. Sat there in the dark, listening to the jungle, waiting for them to hit us again. Danny found me after dark, sat down next to me. Neither of us said anything for a long time. Finally, "You did good today, Doc." I looked at my hands, still covered in blood. Johnson's blood, and 5 others I'd tried to save. 2 who'd died, 3 who might make it. "Doesn't feel good," I said. "Never does," Danny said, "but you did your job. That's all anyone can do." I wanted to believe him. April 1968. We'd been in the valley for 5 weeks. Lost 37 men. Combat casualties, disease, accidents. The jungle killed as efficiently as the enemy. I'd treated maybe 200 wounded, lost count somewhere in the second week. They all blurred together after a while, the faces, the wounds, the screaming, all the same, all dying, all looking at me like I could save them. Sometimes I could. Mostly I couldn't. You learn triage fast. Learn who you can save and who you can't. Learn to make the hard calls. The kid with the abdominal wound, dying, nothing I can do. Give him morphine and move on. The kid with the leg wound, tourniquet, pressure dressing, he'll make it. The kid screaming with his guts hanging out, dying, comfort him. But treat the one next to him first, because that one might live. Cold calculus, life and death by numbers. Save who you can. Let the others go. Don't think about it, don't feel it. Just move to the next casualty. But I knew them all, knew their names, their faces, their stories. The kid with the abdominal wound, Ramirez from Phoenix, had a baby daughter he'd never met. The kid with his guts out, Williams from Detroit, wanted to be a mechanic when he got home, dead, both dead, and a dozen others. And I moved on because that's what combat medics do. Save who you can. Mourn later, if you mourn at all, if you let yourself feel anything. Danny kept me sane, kept me grounded. We'd sit together at night and not talk about the day, talk about anything else. Baseball, music, girls back home. Anything to forget for a few minutes that we were in hell. "When we get home," Danny would say, "first thing I'm doing is getting a steak. Biggest steak I can find, and a beer. A real beer, not this warm piss." "I'm sleeping," I'd say. Just sleeping. In a real bed for about a week. Then what? Then medical school. Finish my degree. Become a real doctor. You're already a real doctor, Doc. You've done more medicine in 2 months than most doctors do in years. Not the same. No, he agreed. Not the same. May 1968. They pulled us out of the A Shao, sent us back to Camp Eagle for a week. Hot food, hot showers, clean clothes. Time to sleep without wondering if you'd wake up to an RPG. Danny and I got drunk on cheap beer in the enlisted club, not falling down drunk. Just enough to take the edge off. Enough to laugh about stupid things. Enough to forget for a few hours. You ever scared? I asked him. Every day, he said. Every minute. Terrified. But you can't let it stop you. Can't let it make you freeze up. That's when you die. How do you deal with it? He thought about it. I don't. I just keep going. Keep doing the job. Keep believing we'll make it home. You really believe that? Have to, he said. Because if I don't, what's the point? 3 days later, they sent us back out. June 3rd, 1968. Operation Nevada Eagle. We were sweeping through Thua Thien province, looking for NVA supply caches, looking for enemy forces, looking for a fight. We found one. The morning started quiet, hot and humid like always. We were moving through rice paddies, exposed, vulnerable. The tree line was 200 meters away, perfect ambush position. Danny was right behind Lieutenant Foster, radio on his back, that antenna sticking up like a target marker. I was in the middle of the column, aid bag over my shoulder, rifle slung across my chest. Medics carried weapons. Geneva Convention be damned. Nobody respected the Red Cross in Vietnam. 1,045 hours. Machine gun fire erupted from the tree line. RPGs, mortars, everything at once. We were caught in the open. Nowhere to hide. Nowhere to run except forward or back. Get to the tree line, Lieutenant Foster screamed. Move! Move! We ran, splashing through the rice paddy, rounds hitting the water around us, men falling, men screaming. I saw Danny running, radio bouncing on his back. Then he stumbled, went down, got back up, kept running. We made it to a paddy dike, low cover but better than nothing. Men were down all over the field, some dead, some wounded, some just pinned down. Medic! Medic! I looked for Danny, saw him 50 meters back, still down, not moving. Danny! I screamed. Nothing. I started moving, crawling through the mud, through the water, rounds snapping overhead, impacting around me. 40 meters, 30, 20. Danny was on his back, eyes open, blood spreading across his chest. The radio next to him, antenna bent, still crackling with chatter. I got to him, started assessing. Gunshot wound, center mass, probably hit the lung, maybe the heart. Bad, really bad. Danny, stay with me. His eyes found mine. Tried to speak. Blood bubbled from his mouth. I ripped open his shirt, found the entry wound, high chest, right side. Exit wound in the back. I felt it when I rolled him. Through and through, probably hit the lung, maybe major vessels. Field dressing. Pressure. 4. Morphine. All the steps. All the training. All the procedures I'd done 100 times. But I couldn't stop the bleeding. Couldn't get a good seal. Couldn't fix what was broken inside him. You're gonna be okay, I told him. Just hold on. Medevac's coming. He grabbed my arm, tried to speak. I leaned in close. Tell my mom, he gasped. Tell her. You tell her yourself, I said, when you get home. You hear me? You're going home. His grip loosened. His eyes went distant. The bubbling stopped. Danny, Danny, stay with me. Don't you dare die. But he was already gone. I kept working anyway, kept doing compressions, kept breathing for him, kept doing everything I'd been trained to do. But you can't bring back the dead, can't restart a heart that stopped, can't save someone who's already gone. Danny Sullivan died in a rice paddy in Thuathine province at 10:53 hours on June 3, 1968, 20 years old, radio operator, my best friend, and I couldn't save him. They medevaxed me out with the other wounded. Didn't even realize I'd been hit until someone pointed out the blood on my leg. Shrapnel, minor. Barely felt it. Got stitched up at the aid station, sent back to the company 2 days later. Back to work, back to treating wounded, back to saving who I could. But something broke that day in the rice paddy. Something that couldn't be stitched up or bandaged or healed. I'd saved dozens of men, treated hundreds, done everything right, done my job. But I couldn't save Danny, the one person who mattered most, the one I needed to save. I couldn't do it. They told me it wasn't my fault. Danny had been hit in the chest, probably died instantly. Nothing anyone could have done. Not me. Not a surgeon. Not God himself. Didn't matter. Didn't change anything. He was still dead. Still in a body bag on a plane back to Boston. Still going home in a box to parents who'd lost their only son. I wrote the letter. Sat in my hooch and wrote to Danny's mother. Told her he died quickly. Told her he didn't suffer. Told her he was brave. Told her all the lies you tell grieving parents. Didn't tell her I'd tried to save him and failed. Didn't tell her I'd watched him die while I did everything I could and it wasn't enough. Didn't tell her that her son's last words were for her and he never got to finish them. Some things you can't share, can't say, can't make someone else carry. I finished my tour. 10 more months. Treated more wounded. Lost more men. Saved more men. Did my job like a machine. Efficient. Cold. Detached. Because if I felt anything, I'd break. If I let myself remember Danny dying in my arms, I couldn't function, couldn't treat the next casualty, couldn't save the next life. So I shut it off, shut it all off. Became Doc who never smiled, who never spoke except to give medical instructions, who treated everyone with perfect technical skill and zero emotion. The men noticed, started avoiding me except when they needed medical attention. I didn't care. Didn't care about anything except keeping them alive, keeping anyone from dying like Danny died. March 1969, I rotated home, honorable discharge, Bronze Star for Valor, Purple Heart, Combat Medical Badge, all the decorations that say you did your job, you saved lives, you made a difference. I threw them in a drawer, couldn't look at them. Couldn't accept recognition for saving lives when the one life I needed to save, I couldn't. It's November 1969. I've been home 8 months, living in San Antonio, living with my parents because I can't hold a job, can't function, can't do anything except remember. I tried going back to school, lasted 3 weeks. Couldn't sit in a classroom, couldn't focus on textbooks, couldn't pretend to care about organic chemistry when I could still see Danny's face, still feel his blood on my hands, still hear him trying to tell me something I'll never know. I tried working, hospital orderly, thought maybe I could still help people, still save lives. Lasted 2 days. First trauma that came through the ER, car accident, chest injuries. I had a panic attack, flashback. Suddenly I wasn't in San Antonio. I was in that rice paddy, and the patient wasn't a stranger. It was Danny. It was always Danny. They sent me home, told me to get help, see a psychiatrist, work through it. But how do you work through failing to save your best friend? How do you process that? How do you make peace with it? I can't. I've tried. Can't do it. I see him every night, in my dreams, in that rice paddy, bleeding, dying. Looking at me like I can save him, like I'm supposed to save him, like that's my job and I'm failing. And I am, every night. I fail every night. They tell me it wasn't my fault. My parents. The VA shrink they made me see. Everyone. They all say the same thing. Danny's wound was fatal. Nothing could have saved him. I did everything right. But if I did everything right, why is he dead? If I did my job, why couldn't I save him? Why could I save dozens of other men I barely knew, but not him? Not the one who mattered. I don't have answers. Just questions. Just guilt. Just the weight of knowing I was there. I was right there. And I couldn't do the one thing I was supposed to do. Danny's family wrote me after the funeral, thanked me for trying, said I'd been a good friend to him, said they were grateful I was with him at the end, said it must have brought him comfort. Comfort. Danny died in agony in a rice paddy while I fumbled with bandages that couldn't stop the bleeding, while I made promises I couldn't keep, while I failed him completely. But I wrote back, said all the right things, said it was an honor to serve with him, said he died a hero, said all the things they needed to hear, didn't tell them the truth, that their son died because I wasn't good enough, wasn't fast enough, wasn't skilled enough, that I was just a 21-year-old kid with a few weeks of training pretending to be a doctor, pretending I could save lives. Danny believed I could, trusted me, called me doc like I was a real doctor, like I knew what I was doing. I let him down. I wanted to be a doctor, wanted to save lives, make a difference. That's why I became a medic. That's why I went to Vietnam instead of hiding behind a student deferment. Now I can't go to medical school, can't look at medical textbooks, can't think about being a doctor without seeing Danny dying, without reliving that moment, that failure. So I don't. I work part-time at my uncle's garage, change oil, fix brakes, simple work that doesn't require thinking, doesn't require saving anyone. Come home, drink, try to sleep, try not to dream, fail at that too. They say time heals, that it gets better, that eventually the memories fade, the guilt lessens, the pain becomes bearable. They're lying. It's been 17 months since Danny died, since June 3rd, 1968, since 1,053 hours, since that rice paddy. It's been 17 months and I still see it, still feel it, still live it every single day. Blood doesn't wash off, not really. You can scrub your hands until they're raw, until the skin cracks and bleeds itself, but you still feel it. Danny's blood, mixed with the blood of dozens of others, mixed with the red clay of Vietnam, still on my hands, always on my hands. I saved a lot of men in Vietnam, did my job, did it well, Bronze Star and Purple Heart say so. But I couldn't save the one who mattered, the one I needed to save. My best friend. And I'll carry that for the rest of my life. Carry him, carry that moment, carry the knowledge that I tried and failed, and no amount of success with others will ever make up for that one failure. Combat medics have a motto: I will never leave a fallen comrade. But that's not the whole truth. The whole truth is, you can stay with them. You can try to save them. You can do everything right, and they still die, and you still fail, and you carry that failure forever. Danny Sullivan died 17 months ago, 20 years old, radio operator, best friend I ever had, and I couldn't save him. Can't save him now either. Can only remember and regret and wonder what he was trying to tell me, what his last words would have been if he'd had time to say them. Tell my mom. What? I'll never know. And that's what I carry, not just his death, but the words unspoken, the message undelivered, the failure complete. Blood doesn't wash off, and some wounds never heal, not his and not mine.